Like an hour. But he's also short. He's got short legs, so that doesn't help his situation.
Yeah. I'm expecting Andrew to crush us on this.
Kyle on Instagram wants to do Chad real bad. He said no. And Marissa said puke.
Yeah, you know what? Like,
it's just steady.
Yeah, you just gotta turn your brain off and just keep on going. Like, 1,000 step-ups. Like it's one of those things. I think it's like a badge of honor. Once you do it once, it's like, okay, you gotta work with 30 blocks, step up to the jump box. Like I've done 1,000, so you're gonna be prepared for everything after that. Like nothing's gonna phase you. It's like one of those things you always bank on. Like, oh, 2 years ago I did this.
It's like Murph. It's like Murph. You're like, oh, I've done Murph. I'm good.
I'll go and do it again.
I'll never do it again. Yeah. With a 20-pound bag sounds brutal. I think it's actually supposed to be a 40-pound bag for guys. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be 40 for guys. That won't be fun. Anyways, you want to get started here?
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We got your attention because I think it's just out of default, right? We know everyone's home for many reasons. We're stuck home, or it's Good Friday, or all the above. So we're glad you guys logged on. And hopefully you guys have something to add to, what we're saying, what we want to talk about, and to keep it like with an open dialogue, because we would love to hear other people's experiences while we're talking about this topic.
Yeah, so today's kind of topic is talking about mindset and talking about expectations, right? So, being able to keep a specific mindset is extremely important, but being flexible to shift your expectations in a time like this is, it's a lesson to be learned. Sorry, one sec, I'm just gonna mute some people here. There we go. Just doing that, there we go. Okay. And I think like the lessons that we can learn from this particular situation are things that can relate to fitness goals, business goals, life goals, relationship goals. There's a lot of things that can be learned from being able to have a flexible mentality in terms of expectations, but maintaining a certain mindset.
And one of the biggest reasons why Steve brought this topic up was because we've talked to so many members, to so many people, they're willing to just like, they're stuck in their own head. They don't have, they're in their own environment. They might be living alone. There's many different reasons, but they just figure, well, I'm not home, then that's it. You work, I'm not working. I'm not going to work out. I'm just going to do pretty much nothing. And they just literally think like, well, that's my only option, right? They don't realize that, you want that to be your very last option, right? And it's not that they're being negative or not being lazy. It's just that's just the norm for them, right? Yeah. So that's why it's important, like Steve's putting this on today, and just trying to get perspective. Be like, holy shit, there's definitely a lot more we can do by being at home, and there's a lot of opportunity during times of uncertainty. I can't even talk. Uncertainty. There it is. I got it.
There you go.
But again, it just comes down to attitude, perspective, and being around the right people to kind of open your eyes with that.
Yeah. So to get the ball rolling, like Chris said, this really kind of arose from talking to a lot of different members who are like, I see that there's tons of classes, everything is scheduled. I'm just stuck in a rut, and I just don't feel like doing anything, and I don't feel like I've got the same motivation. And so when I was talking to people, I was realizing I was totally the same, when this first started. So 3 weeks ago, myself and the team, we drove to Montreal with the intentions of competing at our second sanctioned event of the year, which is essentially like our highest competition we can do all year. And we've been training for it. We were mentally preparing for it, physically preparing for it. And sorry, I'm just going to mute somebody who keeps unmuting himself. And we had put a lot of work into this, and we drove all the way there only to find out the event was canceled. We're getting there slowly. Chris is moving the box closer. There you go. Yeah, just do that. Okay. And then obviously the event was canceled. So it was kind of a gut check, and it was like, oh, that sucks. We put in all this work. And we got nowhere to show it off. We got nowhere to do anything with it. And it was like a mental it was a mental rut. And coming home from essentially feeling like I was at what my fittest all year, going into this whole new situation within just a short period of time, I was totally lost. I'm the kind of person where if I'm training towards a competition, I'm at my best. If I'm not training towards anything, I have a harder time staying as committed. Sorry, I'm gonna just keep muting you. So I went into a rut. The first week that we were doing things, obviously we were extremely busy with figuring out how to have an online business within a couple of days. But even when I did have time, I was just like, I was training, 2 to 3 hours a day. I had a focus that I was working towards. And as soon as that changed, I was like, I just don't feel like doing anything this week. Even if I had time, I was totally stuck myself in that kind of rut. And then it took a little bit of time for me to reassess. And it was because my expectations were still where they were the week before. My expectations were, I need to train 3 hours a day. I need to be able to work on my strength, my cardio, my gymnastics. I need to get my bodybuilding so that I'm, maintaining some size. I need to make sure my nutrition's on point, and if I have all this free time to do all these things in a day, I can train at my best. That's what my expectations were the week before. And all of a sudden, with being extremely busy and living a different life that we're not used to, it was unrealistic to have those same expectations. So what it took me a little bit of time to realize was, I needed to figure out in my own head, what are the expectations that I can actually reach towards right now? I've got time to maybe train an hour a day. And those were on good days. Now I'm at the point where it's maybe 45 minutes to 60 minutes a day, but my mentality during that time should stay the same. My effort that I give during that time should stay the same. So by shifting my expectations, I'm not preparing for competition. I'm not preparing for my highest level of the year, but I can focus on one thing. I do have enough time to work on one thing. So right now for me, obviously, my biggest weakness is just base cardio, just simple stuff. The simpler, the harder it is for me. And I'm like, you know what? I do have enough time to just work on that. So if I can focus my actual expectations on working on one thing instead of 5 or 6 different things all at once, that's one thing that I can choose to actually attack. And, if I only have 45 minutes to do it, that 45 minutes of the day, I want my mentality to be on 100% as if it was before. And that's where my expectations have changed, but my mentality stayed the same. I want to give all of my, everything that I'm able to give during that period of time. I want to make sure that I'm giving it, even if it's for less time of the total day. That's where my kind of rant started from. That was long.
Again, I think it's important to realize that there's little wins, and I think we talked about it yesterday. With Coach Rob in yesterday's talk with regards to programming, and Doriana was talking. It's with, finding different ways to find little wins, right? If you put intention in little things, in the long run, all those little things that you're trying to do will become a big thing, right? Again, we can translate into to working out. We can translate into, well, I'm at home. I have the opportunity to maybe read a book, and I didn't have time to do that. Let me take a topic that I actually need to, focus on, or pick something that I don't know about, maybe finances, maybe investing, maybe something. Again, all these are common topics that are coming up. Just because again, we're not working, people worried about money, people worried about their investments, we're worried about our health and our fitness, right? So it's time to find at least one small thing, just give it some focus and realize that you can actually be better off once we get back in 2 months. You just created the skill or developed that weakness. And that when you put everything back together, all those things that you weren't able to do, they're going to come back really fast anyways, right? And you're going to come out being ahead compared to where we were before when times were good, right? And the good thing is that it's learning how to be moldable in life, right? Where our lives have been a certain way, but can we adapt, and can we adapt in a positive way, right? And the same principles are for fitness, for your family, and for work. And I think knowing that we can be adaptable, or just having perspective, okay, I got to adapt, and I can choose to, find the positive out of things and make things work. And just knowing that, and knowing you have those skills and those tools, you shouldn't be, insecure or scared during times of uncertainty, because you know what you're capable of doing, right? And I think it's just really important for all of us to always remember that, not just be like, well, I got dealt a shitty hand, and
I'm
life
just sit
sucks,
down.
and I'm just gonna lose it all and get fat and do nothing until my boss calls me to go back to work. Because again, if you have that attitude, that's a choice, right?
It's hard to hear, Chris.
And that is it hard to hear me, guys?
Yes.
Anyways, I'll talk louder.
Here, you know what? Let's just go off the mic. We don't need the headphones right now.
Okay.
Just 1 second. How about now? Is that better?
Better, worse, same.
Good.
It's not, yeah, good.
Yeah, good.
But anyways, at the end of the day, it's a choice, right? But we know that the more we talk about it, I'm sure like 80, 90% of you guys are already on it. You're a part of our community. You guys already think like that. We know that, right? But the more we talk about it, the more we're going to feel secure with, our thoughts, that we're on the right path, and, we can talk about, things that are working for you that I might not have even thought of, right? So you're going to help strengthen my skills, my tools, on a personal level. And the more we talk about this, we're just going to strengthen our community. And then hopefully the goal is that, everybody you guys come in touch with, you're going to continue to do the same. And we're just creating a bigger, stronger community, because in times like this, like, we're all in this together. Like, the whole world's like shut down. The whole world's not working, right? So for the most part, like, we're all in this together. So we have like a social responsibility to, take care of everybody for our own well-being, because the sooner that people are able to go back to work, we need everyone to go back to work, because we need our economy bumping against this way we can get back on track, right? And I think the responsibility, again, it just comes down to everybody looking out for everybody, because if we have that attitude, that mentality, the sooner we're going to get, we're going to go back to where we were, and hopefully, get better than before.
So going with the kind of concept of mentality, one example, and I wanted to use Chris's example, is when Chris had his shoulder surgery. So, anybody who knows anything about Chris, they know that he's extremely mentally strong, from being a professional fighter to being I don't know, are you a professional CrossFitter?
I'm an exerciser.
He's a professional exerciser, but that one of his biggest strengths is always been his mentality, and his mental strength has always been his biggest strength. And as soon as I was thinking about this topic, the first thing that actually came to mind for me was actually Chris had shoulder surgery right before his daughter was born and right before the CrossFit Open. And I think I'll let you get into more of that, but I think the display that he showed of him doing the Open with his arm in a sling, new baby at home, competing in it was probably like our 9th Open at that time. And it's a perfect example of he shifted his expectations, but not his mentality, in that, every year we've always competed and the goal was to make it to the CrossFit Games. But honestly, tell me, do you think you were going to make it to the games that year?
Probability was pretty unlikely.
It was kind of low, right? But did you do every single workout?
Yeah.
And did you still manage to beat like people with one arm?
Not in every workout.
But some of them.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%.
And a lot of people, including myself, he beat Pietro. That's why he's like, yeah, you beat me. He beat Brett too. I think he beat Brett as well. But at the time, it was so inspiring to see him do that, because it wasn't just about him working out. It was about mentality. And that was what anybody and everybody can watch that and look up to that and be like, I can see that mentality. I can see that, like, that hard work ethic. And that's something that I can strive towards. So why would you choose to, like, just still go at it? Why would you choose to still attack it?
At the end of the day, you just got to remember, like, it doesn't matter about where we're at. Like, if we're stuck at home all day, if you got one arm to work out with, I just want to be better. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you have a choice. Either I'm going to piss and moan and get worse, and that's not going to make me feel good logically, or I can do everything I can all the time to be better, because I know that if I'm better for myself, which is going to help me be better for my wife, my kids, my family, my business. And then because of the business, if I can be better for the business, that means I'm going to affect everybody else. And hopefully that they're going to continue with that trend, and they're going to do the same thing for their families and friends and community and all that, right? And,
it inspires people.
Like, who doesn't want to do that? Like, to me, it's just logical sense. Or I could do nothing and get nothing, right? And I know that life is short, so let's just suck the life out of, like, of what we're willing to put in, right? So just try to do as much as you can, because what else? At the end of the day, what else are you going to do? right? So for me, it just makes logical sense.
So it sounds similar to what we're going through, right? People
It's
can
exactly
choose.
like this. You can choose, exactly.
You can choose to be at home and sit at home.
Take it easy, guys, because I talk to some people, you know what, I'm going to just sit down and just chill out for the next 2 months. Meanwhile, I had assessments with these people, before, and I'm like, what is your goal? My goal is to be this, this, and this. So by you sitting for 2 months, how is that going to help you? And we can't forget, where you want to go, because everyone wants to feel better, be healthier. Like, for you to not do that, it's easy to just stop and be like, think it's okay, but it's really not, because it's not making you happy. And once you come to terms with, like, I'm happy not getting better, I feel great the way I am, and if I got fitter or if I got mentally stronger, I don't care. Like, if that's the truth and that's how you feel, I respect that. But don't make up excuses. You just have to own what you want, right? And again, like, different levels of fitness and different levels of happiness, it's not the same for everybody, and we respect that and understand that. But you can't say, this is what I want, but this is what I'm willing to put in, and say that that's good enough, because it's really not. And we're using your words and your goals and your everything. It's just that there's a big disconnection with, what you need to do to get here and what you feel you need to do. And it's just, reminding yourself that, because we know that once we get our goals, and we know, like, our members, when you hit a PR, you know that all that work you put in before that, it's worth it, right? You set yourself up for a goal. Like, my goal was to do my first pull-up, and I want to do it in 6 months or a couple months, or my goal is to do my first competition, or do a clean, or run 5K, or, just not hurt walking up the stairs. And after all said and done, when you look at all that work you put in to get that one goal, right, there's nothing that, can replace that, right? And we know that it's 100% worth it.
And there's a compounding effect too, though, right? Like, when you dedicate yourself towards one thing and you succeed at that one thing, like, the skills, the habits, the personality traits that you build along the line will continue. So even if it's not CrossFit, even if it's not fitness, even if you're like, I'm a car salesman and I want to hit the most amount of sold cars this month. What are the things that I need to do to make that happen? Maybe I need to read some better books on sales. Maybe I need to meet more people and be more social. Maybe I need to learn more about the cars themselves, right? So you're going to develop these habits of reading more, being more social, being more cognitive, and learning how to read people better. And then all of a sudden you hit that goal of selling the most cars. Great, I hit the goal. What's next? But regardless of what's next, I've already built up this foundation of new established personality traits and habits that now I'm like, okay, I'm done with the car sales thing. I'm still killing it. Great. Now I want to improve my relationship with my wife. Maybe I need to pay more attention to her. Maybe I need to listen to her more. I've already started building on some of those things from trying to be a better car salesman, right? So there is a huge compounding effect by choosing one thing that you really want to get good at, working towards it, succeeding, and then, take some time to look back and say, okay, what are the things that really, really work there? I can just keep building on that now for the rest of my life. Sorry, I interjected you there.
You want to get slow? I was going to respond, and then I stopped. I forgot what you said.
Okay, all right. Sorry, go ahead.
More is better. The other day, do more. As long as it's smart and it's guided and it makes sense. But he talked about, fitness. He talked about family. He talked about relationships. He talked about business. And we realized that the principles are all the same, right? If we can understand the principles, it's that we just attribute it to any aspect of life. And, it doesn't matter. It's the exact same thing. You just take the formula, you do it, you repeat it. You do it, you repeat it. You keep doing it. We know that if you don't know what to do, you find a community of people who are where you want, of people who are already where you want to be. And you ask them, what did you do? What mistake did you make? And hopefully they'll be able to give you some guidance, right? And again, I'm going to say it, it's important for us to stay connected to do this, because I'm sure so many of you guys have so many different experiences and expertise and so many things that you guys can share that will help us, like the two of us, and then, the other people watching and listening as well, right? Yeah.
I wanted to talk about another example, and luckily she's on the call too right now. So another example of a time that we really had to shift our expectations, but try to still manage our mentality was 2018. was our third year as a team going to regionals. This was the final year of normal regionals, which is like our big competition of the year. You know, we had been training for months leading up to the competition. It was potentially our last year as a team to compete together, because it was kind of like our last hurrah to try to make it to the games, make it back, you know, kind of redeem ourselves, especially the year before we came sixth. We were one place out from making it to the CrossFit Games. So, you know, it was a new change that year. They went down to teams of 4, so already things were different. And unfortunately, a week before the actual competition, during training, one of our teammates actually had an injury and broke her foot. So this was literally 7 days out from, actually technically it was like less, because that happened on like the Sunday and we had to leave Thursday to drive to New York. So she broke her foot. We knew right away that she was gone, and there was nothing we could do about that. So already the mentality that we had with that particular team and that group of people, things immediately changed, and there was nothing we could do about that. We were completely hands tied behind our back. There was nothing we could do. A broken foot is a broken foot. There's no way you're competing. And so this kind of goes two ways. So we had to shift our own expectations, because all of a sudden we had to change something. Enter Sandra. Sandra's on this call right now. Coach Sandra. Coach Sandra, during that time, she wasn't competing with us that year. And she didn't need to train her ass off every day leading up to regionals, because she didn't know whether it mattered. She didn't need to, but she chose to, because that was the type of person she is, and that's the type of habits and mentality that she has, was I'm going to be as fit as possible no matter what, for whatever happens. And it was also a situation originally that it was out of her hands. And then we had 5 days for her to get up to speed, for us to drive to regionals and her to compete with us. That, just her shifting her whole life so that she could change everything within 5 days to go compete with us, was a perfect example of an extremely strong mentality, but also a flexible mentality. She was flexible in that she was willing to shift immediately to being able to do what we needed her to do, and she made it happen. That mentality, though, she always had it. It was always there. And then on our side, from the team's perspective, it was something that we had to shift the mentality. We didn't know it was going to happen. Originally, we had plans, we had expectations. We now were entering a competition we hadn't ran through the events together. We tested a couple of them out, but normally we're very structured in how we test things out. And obviously this year was it was a guess. And by the end of it, it ended up being our best year ever. And it wasn't because we gave up on hopes and dreams or anything like that, but it's because what we did maintain was mentality.
Well, and a big part of it, Sandra, who came in 5 days later, like 5 days before the competition, she wasn't a sub, she was an asset to the team. And I think the biggest lesson was she was training, like there's like 2.5 months, maybe almost 3 months, where, you know, the team was just training by themselves, and like me and Sandra were just training on our own. And she was training to be the best version of herself. And it didn't matter about any competition, didn't matter about anybody else. All that mattered to her was that I'm going to be the best runner I've ever been. Because that was one of her biggest weaknesses, right? I'm going to be amazing at handstand push-ups. I'm going to get better at handstand walks. I'm going to be whatever. And she chose to do that for herself, whether she was competing or not. And when she went, like she got called in last minute, it wasn't like, oh, they fluked it. You can't fluke making on podiums. It was the best regional placement they've ever done, or we've ever done, or ever seen, was 3rd place because of her attitude, right? And when she went on the team, like she killed it. Like it was like the workouts were waiting for her. Like it was meant to be for her.
And why is that? Because of
she was
preparation?
Yeah, because of the preparation and the amount of effort she put in. It wasn't like, oh, she got a lucky chance to go compete, right? You can't be lucky if you're not prepared, if you haven't put in the work, right? She had that attitude and that mentality to be like, I'm going to be the best. So if a lucky opportunity arises, hopefully I can, take advantage of it. But it's not luck when you put in that much effort. You just need that one shot to show what you have. And, they came in 3rd place. Obviously, they got disqualified for drinking too much caffeine, but that's a whole other story. But You know, like that's third place. Like that was absolutely insane. You know what I mean? Like, and that just goes to show you just having a proper attitude all the time and always wanting to be better for yourself. Because being better for yourself allows you to, you know, trickle down that effect onto your team, and that's why it brought the best out of the team, and that's why they got the best placement, or the placing ever in regionals for us. You know what I mean? So that's a great. You know, great. I think that's probably the best example out of everything that we said today, to be honest with you. But I don't know if any of you guys have any questions or you guys want to share any experiences.
Someone said, you can't drop that information and not tell the story. We'll put the story real quickly. We came third at regionals in 2018. We were qualified for the CrossFit Games. We were training, ready to go for the CrossFit Games. And about probably under a month out to the CrossFit Games, we found out that one of our teammates, Laura, actually tested positive for something that was in her pre-workout, and basically the whole team got disqualified from the games that year, and it was a shitty finish, but it is what it is. That's
the pre-workout wasn't even hers. It's her girlfriend's who bought it on sale at a store, and she's like, you know what? I don't like the taste of this blue flavor. I'm gonna throw it out. So our teammate's like, well, don't throw it out. I'm going to take it then because it's just an over-the-counter all-max pre-workout. So she thought there was nothing wrong with it, right?
Yeah, and you can't blame her. How many times we've all drank and shit that we've never paid attention to.
It wasn't even like regular like pre-workout. It was just like, okay, I just taking it because I don't want to be wasteful.
Someone's shaking up their pre-workout as we talk right now. There you go. Yeah, that's the story. Yeah, we got sidetracked there.
Anybody have any experiences or anything they want to talk about how even like during this time that they've noticed that they've leveled up, or they've, you know, if there was another experience, if there was another time they would have been like, I'm not going to do anything, but now they're forcing themselves to get in. Ala?
Well, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Absolutely.
So one of the things I try to do is put a 5 o'clock workout in my calendar as a meeting. So I schedule that and nothing can interrupt that because that's my meeting with a customer or whoever it is, but it's my meeting that I cannot get away from. And also after working out for X number of years, I won't say how long, I don't want to kick it back. I want to make sure that I don't lose all those years that I've put into myself. So that's another mental thing that I keep. Those are the two things that I kind of try to keep myself during the day. On the days that I do get lazy and I said, oh, you know, it's 5 o'clock. I can always work out at 6, but if it's an appointment and it comes up, you know, 5 minutes before you have to be there, then that kind of motivates me to be there like yesterday.
You know what, that's so important because actually we've been telling like our personal training clients, we've been telling them to just keep on scheduling your life as if you're still working every single day because it's so important, right? Getting dressed in your work clothes instead of, you know, staying in your pajamas all day.
Yeah.
Making appointments, like you said, it's the fact that you're scheduling it into your day, because it's so easy to be like, you know what, I'm going to cook dinner, or I'm just not going to do that, right? But at least that brings some kind of structure to your day. Scheduling that in is such a great tool that I think everybody should be doing for, you know, scheduling. Like, when am I going to be? If you're working from home, when exactly do I want to work from home? When am I breaking?
Even waking up.
You know what I mean?
Set your alarm clock like normal.
Yeah.
I was talking to Peter. You're there on this. I was telling him the other day where it's all the small things are still the big things right now. Like every day, get out of your pajamas right away. Go do your hair. Go shave your face. Go whatever your habits normally were. Those little things will help you maintain some normal habits in normal life. And then definitely scheduling things in. I completely agree. Right now, like even myself, I'm trying to schedule that every day I come. And I try to get in a small workout at 8 o'clock. So this way I'm prepared to do our class at 9 o'clock, and then I've got the rest of my day scheduled out. And even though things are completely different, at least I feel like I'm productive by maintaining a schedule and maintaining, actually I feel like I'm even maintaining sanity. Otherwise, if I had nothing to do or no organization, I would lose my mind. I would totally lose it.
And again, having the attitude where it's like, well, I put in this many years or spent this much money to get to where I want to be, and I can let a lot of it go in 2 months, and then I have to start from ground zero again, when you could actually put in a little bit of effort and maintain. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have the attitude of like, I'm going to get stronger than I've ever been, but it could be like, I want to maintain whatever strength I have and or start improving on my movement quality. Like those for those of you who have no equipment, right? This is the time, like instead of me rushing through the workouts or not paying attention to my movement quality, just thinking about how heavy I can lift, let's improve that movement quality, because when you come back to the weights, you just primed your nervous system to fire in a new pattern, right? Because we've had 2 months to think about perfect movement pattern, you know, good range of motion. So this way, when you come back to using those weights, holy shit, I'm actually moving straighter and smoother than I've ever have, right? And there's a lot of benefit you can get through that, right? It's just that it's hard when your everyday life is like you're gonna crush the workout, push hard, and lift heavy, and blah blah blah, right? When it's like no. Sometimes if you scale it back, you can get some benefits. Because I know that's one of the things that I'm trying to work on right now, because I'm there's many different reasons why I'm not able to work out like I was before, but I'm just, my focus is my movement quality, because if not, I know I'm hard-headed and I'll push the weight I need to get to, but I know I'm not going to get any stronger or lift any heavier until my movement quality moves better. So I got to focus on locking up my elbows better, like Ivano, right? But
his elbows are great.
his hands are going to touch the ceiling, he says.
Oh.
But that's a whole other story. But anyways, guys, the movement quality, that's something that I'm putting a lot of intention on, instead of, you know, not stressing out about, you know, I got to get stronger, I got to lift heavier. It's just not going to, it's not going to happen, and I'm not going to stress out about it, because I have my goal that will help me when I come back to, you know, regular life.
Yeah, let's take it back to you guys. Anybody else want to share anything? We've got people on Instagram and we've got people on Zoom here. Feel free to jump in there, guys. Oh,
Yeah.
I hear somebody.
Yeah, I'll talk quickly. I think too, just having like your group of people to check in on is super important. Like, if you guys like knew, like after Chris had shoulder surgery, I'd be like, "Hey, bro, we're gonna do some handstand push-ups right now," and he'd be like, "What?" Like, I like shit talked the shit out of him, even after his surgery.
Shit talk the shit out of him.
But I
A lot of shit.
but it was like something that like I knew that if I kept on him, if I kept him accountable, like he would come back even better. And I think a lot of the members at Cristini Athletics do a good job of checking in on each other and holding each other accountable. And like even yesterday, like I was messaging Chris, Abe, and someone else, and I'm being like, okay, boys, like let's go at this workout hard and stuff. And I think just having people to rely on is really important.
You know what, 100%, Sandra. I think, you know, when I was recovering from surgery, you are probably the biggest reason why I got, you know, back to where I got to so fast, because of the amount of shit talking and putting me down while you're beating me in handstand push-up workouts while I was in a swing. But like it works though. You know what I mean? You know my personality. You know what motivates me. You know what gets me going. And it's like, she thinks she's better than me right now in handstand push-up just because I'm in a sling. Like, I'm gonna kill her.
I mean, she technically was.
But, like she was. It was like I'm still pissed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But again, like you never let up. You know, we always did. You know, found ways to continue to work out. But 100%, you are one of the biggest reasons why I got better so fast, because you didn't. You weren't like, oh, Chris, you're getting older. You're injured. You have surgery. It's okay for you to suck right now. It's okay. No, you're like, man up, bro. Like, are you done? Are you done crying? Are we gonna work out? Are you gonna lose to me again? Right? And it's true. That's what I needed, because again, don't get me wrong. Yes, I understood where I was, but I wasn't happy where I was. Right? When I was in the sling and trying to recover from my shoulder, I know where I wanted to be. So I'm like, as long as I know I'm working to get to where I want to be and not getting, you know, complacent where it's like, oh, it's okay, you know, I had shoulder surgery, so it's time for me to just chill out and relax and whatnot. It's like, no, you never let me let up. Even if I might have thought that, like, okay, like, Sam, relax. I can't be every single time on the air dive with my arm, right? Right. So it really pushed me 100%. It really, like, it's one of the biggest reasons, and it's because, again, having a community and having people to let me not get in my own head and realize that, you know what, if you want to get better, you can hang around me, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna push you. And again, that's a prime example of like what we're trying to do right now.
Yeah, I think it's the power of even like a good gym buddy, number one, but like the power of a really an important coach, an important mentor, or whatever in whatever domain this is, having somebody that you look up to, number one, that is an example of that hardworking ethics that you want to learn from. Find somebody like that right away. I can honestly say I got that from him, and I also got the hard work ethic from my dad. And those are people that I would always kind of emulate. Being younger than him, I was always basically chasing him in everything he did anyways. That, and then as well as like your core group of people, you know, they say like you're like the 5 people around you, right? And it's like, if your 5 friends all smoke, what are you going to do? You probably smoke. If your 5 friends drink, what do? You probably drink. If your 5 friends are crushing it in business, what are you going to do? You're probably going to be doing well in business. If your 5 friends are jacked and have 6-packs, I mean, you're probably not crushing beers and eating gummy bears in front of them. You're probably working out with them, right? And that's why if someone's laughing at the gummy bears. Someone's like, whoa, I have a 6-pack and I still eat gummy bears, Julie. But having a strong group of people around you is extremely important. That's honestly, personally, part of the reason why I really enjoy competing in CrossFit on a team is because I love having other people around me. Number one, to train with, because then I'm constantly striving to be as good or, you know, hopefully better than each person at certain things. You know, if I know I'm training with this person and they're better than me at that, on the day that we do that workout, like, I'm chasing them, but I've got a variety of people to be around. And that's just, you know, obviously the fitness idea, but you want to be surrounded by those type of people who are going to constantly force you to level up. You know, right now we're in like a small contact group with a couple other guys who own CrossFit gyms. And these are people who I totally look up to. I think that they all have certain things that they bring to the table that they are world class at. And we communicate with these guys of different ideas, different topics, and everybody brings something to the table. And I think like that small group for us is something that's going to help us level up in domains that we're not good at. Me and Chris aren't tech savvy. I'll tell you straight up. I learned how to do all this stuff, like these videos that we're doing, these live classes with the workout on the screen and the music in the background and all these things. I would have never known how to do any of this. I called another gym owner and he taught me everything. So like just by having those connections, all of a sudden we're kind of like a techie gym. I don't know, not really.
You're a techie, not me.
Okay, Chris is the one teaching the classes.
I can't manage finding the timer. And I'm holding in my hand.
You definitely can't count the Tabatas, that's for sure. But you know, it's a strong group of people around you, and having multiple of those groups. Have one strong group of people for business. Have one strong group of people for fitness. Have a strong group of people who are religious. Whatever it is that matters to you, have a core group of people of different things that you can lean on, and that you can constantly be working to strive for higher on those different aspects. You got a question? No. We got sup, boys. Sup.
And you guys probably don't even realize, Steve.
Yeah, I know who's talking now. Yeah.
I was going to say, you guys probably don't even realize the like the domino effect there. So you guys have now instituted this whole like virtual fitness, you know, stuff. And then I don't know, you know, who came before and after, but then I start to see on Instagram all these other gyms starting to do it. So you probably feed off each other. You probably, maybe a little bit of that is some healthy competition, right? But so it ends up benefiting a whole bunch of people who go to those gyms. And the benefit to you guys as well is that you've got such a more pronounced face now on social media. So, you know, that might contribute to you know, having more members down the road, that kind of thing. So it's this whole like through adversity, right? Sometimes comes things that you don't even expect that are really positive.
100%. Again, that comes down to attitude and mentality, and is this happening to you or is this happening for you, right? And that's one of the biggest things that we're always like, there's so many things. I'm sure other people who own small businesses, that's our daily life, right? And there's always things coming up, and we just always have to keep reminding ourselves to stay positive. If we know we're doing the best we can, we're trying to grow and never stay stagnant. Great things can come out of times, especially during uncertainty. So, friggin' word, man.
Uncertainty.
Okay? so many good things can happen. But again, it comes down to work ethic and attitude and the same principles that we talked about, right? And 100%, Brianna, because now people are messaging Steve from other gyms, hey, how do I do this online gym thing for my members? And you're 100% right? Because we were the first ones, or one of the first ones to jump on. Now Steve's like the Zoom class where people are doing it, and now they're able to do it. And it's a big picture aside, it's not like, oh, well, if they do it, then we're not going to look amazing. They're not going to come. No, the big picture is that everyone's going to stay healthy. The healthier everyone stays, the faster people are going to get to work. The faster they get to work, the better our economy is going to stabilize, and we're going to be like back to where we were, and hopefully, you know, doing better from it and being stronger because of this experience. And we know that once we get through this, because we've never lived through a pandemic or a depression or anything like that, we're going to feel so much more in control, and we're going to be so much more prepared if something like this happens again, right? It's just going to be like, okay, we've been through this once, and now I know what to do and, you know, how to react and not be emotional and just go, right? Like I talked to my grandmother the other day, and she was on the phone, and she was asking how we were, and my wife's like, you know what, my kids are driving me nuts. My grandmother's like, please, are you kidding me? You're worried about this? She's like, my grandfather, she's like, they had a sick mother. My great grandmother was sick during the Depression, and she had a terminal illness, and they had 9 kids, and they had no food to eat. And like as she's telling us, we're eating like steak and rapini, and we're like, you know what? We're doing pretty good. You're right. Like times are not that bad. Like we're pretty good. And for them, it's just another day. Like her attitude, like don't even worry. Are you kidding? Like it could be way worse than this because they've seen a lot worse than us, right? And it gives you perspective, and that's why they're the ones at that age group that have to be worried about being in contact with people and not leaving their house. And it's like when I talk to her, she's like, this is not a big deal. You guys are gonna get over it, right? But yeah, it's one of those things that we can say that this is gonna be this is gonna strengthen all of us from this experience, and it's gonna allow us to be, you know, stronger and get us more connected. Just like when you, Brianna, do your talks on Saturdays, so many more people know you and appreciate, you know, the knowledge that you've been providing for us. Like you've helped me, you've answered so many questions, just general questions, and you know, I'm sure a lot of people appreciate it, are going to be more connected to you and maybe have a different view on doctors. Not that we all have bad views on doctors, but I'm just saying, like, it's just like, oh, not doctors all this way or that way or whatever. You know what I mean? Like we can connect. And yeah, so I think we have a lot to offer and gain from this.
Patty's looking forward to more of your acting, Chris.
Oh yeah, guys, when we come back, I'm going to be doing an autograph section for my acting, because now I'm an actor. When you talk to Maria or you see her, message her on Instagram, say, you know what, you're lucky to have a husband to teach you acting, and he's as talented as you. So feel free to tell her that. I hope she's not on right now. Oh shit, she is. She just waved.
No, we can wave. Anyways, yeah. Somebody's off mute here. Somebody want to join in here?
Guys, feel free to.
Oh, somebody's Piano's watching it.
Oh, Piano's watching it.
Make sure to give it a share and a like. Thank you.
No, but all kidding aside, this is one of those moments where it's a perfect example of a shoulda, woulda, coulda, because you know, I just can't help think about, like, it didn't hit me like week 1, week 2. It hit me like probably now we're like a month into it, and you can't help but think that in 10 years from now, everybody's got like a nephew or a niece or a child that's anywhere between like 1 and 3 years old right now or whatever, right? You know somebody. And in 2030, that person is going to know more about this world, and they're going to know about this. And you're going to explain to them that you couldn't go to parks, you couldn't go to your families, you couldn't touch people. They're going to look at you and say, like, what the hell are you talking about? They'll look at you and think like you're on drugs or something, right? And it's going to be amazing 10 years from now how you're going to tell these stories. But the one thing that person's going to ask you is, what did you do during that time? And if you're looking at that person, and it's someone that, and everybody can walk away with this saying, well, if there's someone that looks up to me right now that I want to impact, now's the time to do that. Because in 10 years from now, when they ask you, what did you do during that time? You sat on your couch? No, you either crushed your fitness goal or your business goal or your financial goal or whatever. But now is that shoulda, woulda, coulda, because we're going to be saying this next year and saying, I should have invested in this. I should have done this. I should have did that. And yeah, so this is those shit talk moments where it's like, what's stopping you, right? And so that person you look up, that looks up to you, is you got to think of it like that, right?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great perspective. You know,
I like that.
Again, you know, being a parent, and for my parents, my kids to look at me like when we talk about it, and like, you know, 20 years, like, Dad, you remember when I didn't see you all day because you were so busy working? You know what I mean? Compared to other people who are like, you know what, Dad, remember when you said we had no money and you weren't doing anything and blah 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 and you were miserable and whatever, right? It's great because they're going to be able to look back at that and use us as an example with how we chose to, you know, experience a pandemic and not being able to, like, you know, having our lives change like that, right? So yeah, I think that's great. Like, honestly, I didn't even think about that.
No, yeah, I love that
Right?
perspective.
And I think that perspective of thinking about this in 10, 20 years and telling people how you reacted is important, because it's going to happen 100%. You're going to be sitting at the table with your friends in 10, 20 years and like, remember that time? Like, oh shit, yeah, no, I didn't do much. And you're going to be like, I gained so much knowledge, or the actions I took during then made me to who I am now, right? And it's going to be undeniable, right? Because really how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Somebody else wanted to join in there.
I feel like Rob's really quiet. Rob's always got something to say. Just smiling. It's like, I'm waiting for my turn. Come on.
I'm just learning so much from you guys.
I don't know if you think serious or you shit talking right now. I don't know.
Probably both.
A little bit of both, of course.
I do have a question for you guys while you're here. And it's kind of like building on what you did, but I really like this question. What negative experience that you do not want to repeat do you think has changed you most positively? And I'm also going to put a stipulation that since you've talked about regionals testing positive in your shoulder a lot, that you can't use either of those examples.
Are you talking in personal or fitness or business or?
Whatever you think.
So what negative experience? Cool. I don't know. What negative experience?
There's been a couple though, man. I gotta think.
You know what? How about this? How about this one right now? We're gonna be honest. You get to see what you're made of, right? And let's talk about Woodbridge, for example, right? This month, again, it's testy to see, you know, if you're in it for the right reasons or not. And this month in March for Woodbridge specifically, we're supposed to be the most, you know, the most money that we've ever generated in 10 years. In all of 10 years, we've never, like, we had, like, this was like
everything coming together, a lot of years of changes.
Putting it together, like, this is the month. And we've been waiting for it. We knew it because we have goals and expectations, and like, it was like a lot of layers we've been building over the year, 2 years for this month to happen for us. And we're like, guys, it's coming, it's coming. We're like, holy shit. How is this happening in March? Like, how is this frigging pandemic, like, what the F? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we couldn't believe it, right? And again, you have two options. You're going to be like, well, fuck it. I'm not going to push. I'm not going to work hard. And this is shit because, again, like, we've had, you know, good times, bad times. And, like, this is supposed to be, like, make up all of this. This is like a PR of PRs for us. From a PR to be like, oh, this is a bad fucking month. This is a really, really bad, like, how did we get this? How did it happen to be on that month? And now we're like, now we got going from, like, we're going to do amazing to, like, how are we going to pay our fucking bills? How are we going to pay our coaches? But the reality is let's just work harder and let's make our systems better. Let's improve and let's get out there on social media. Let's be recognized as people who want to do things not for money. We're not driven by money. We're driven by helping people, right? We're passionate about that. And we know that the more people we can affect and the more people we help, that's going to come back in a monetary form anyways. People are going to want to be a part of us. People are going to want our services because we know that we're going to give them the best service they can for them to be the best versions of themselves, right? It's not like, I just want to make money off you so I can make money off you, because that's not going to last. And we know that that's not how you create lifers. Yeah, you might get, you know, get like a 10 PT session off of someone, but that's not going to help us, right? And we know that we have been working, literally, like, ask my wife, ask Jordana, we're working 11, 12 hours a day. and we've been working harder than we've ever worked. And it's not just because of scarcity, we'll say, but it's because of how much we know, like, your purpose. Like, we want to help everybody, and the more we help you guys, the better it works. It comes to us as well, right? Like, we're working hard, and we know that we're in this for long term, because there's a bunch of CrossFit gyms that I know, being in the networks that we're connected with, that have told their members, guys, Saturday at 10 a.m., doors are open, go take whatever equipment you want. We're closing down, right? There's a lot of people reassessing, gym owners reassessing what they're passionate about, right? They're like, you know what, if I got to do this Zoom training stuff, and I realize I don't like training people on Zoom, and I don't have any connection, and it's not valuable to me, I have to reassess, why am I doing this? Like, these are the things that I'm reading on the forums that I'm reading. And a bunch of people like, you know what, it's just not worth the fight. I'm going to just end up closing down, because when I come back, I'm not going to be able to make the money that I lost on rent, and I have to pay the deferred amount later on, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just closing down, right? For us, it's like, we can't wait till we open, because we know, obviously, we want to help you guys. We want to see you guys. And we can't wait to come back to just continue doing what we're doing and continue to get better and strengthen our community. Like, it's not about the money. It's about just what we're passionate about, right? And it's like, in times like this, you get to see, like, people's true colors. Like, what are they in it for? Because there's a lot of other gyms that are just like, all right, we're closed. I'll post maybe a workout on Instagram for the day, and hopefully you guys continue to pay my membership, the same pay that you guys have been doing, or I'm just going to close down for the time being and then worry about what's happening later. And we chose, a different avenue because of, our purpose and our passion. So I think that's the most current one I'm going to answer. Hopefully I answered it.
I don't know.
Did I answer it?
It was a negative situation that you don't want to go through again. Because that was.
I don't want to go through this again. I don't want to hit my all-time 10-year, like, my goal, my PR that I'm going to hit, and go through a fucking pandemic again. Absolutely not. I don't want to do this. It sucks.
You're not enjoying the pandemic?
But you're too close to me, by the way. But anyways,
don't bring that up.
I think that's something, it's definitely not a good thing that happened, but we're making a lot of positives out of this shitty situation. So yeah.
Good question. Good answer.
Else? Anybody else?
How many people are still up on this one?
Nobody. There's a lot of people on today.
Let's do one more. Somebody.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Like 35 people altogether right now between the two things on. Nobody has anything to share off of.
I got another one, but it's a little harder.
This is for Steve, right? Or Sandra?
Let's go, Steve. You answer this one. So building on Piero's thing, when this is done, when you look back on it in a year, 2 years, what do you think you're going to regret not doing or regret doing too much of during this time?
What am I going to regret doing? This is not business. And actually, I wouldn't say it's a regret, but it's the situation I'm dealt. I have a newborn at home. I would love to be able to sit back and say, you know what? It's almost like I can have paternity leave right now. Like, the world is giving me an opportunity to take paternity leave and take it easy and just spend some time at home, which I would love to do. Jordana was telling me last night how she's got a morning routine that they wake up and they snuggle from like 10 to 10:30, and then they like chill on the couch from 10:30 to 11, and then she feeds her from 11 to 12, and then they snuggle again. So for me, I wish I wasn't missing out on that, but at the same time, in 10 years from now, when she asks what did I do during this time, I'd rather tell her that I did everything that I'm capable of doing to maintain not just my business, but our community and our not even just the livelihood, like what drives me, right? Because what drives me it's not just the classes, it's the people. And doing what we're doing right now allows me to continue to serve the people. And I'd rather tell her that I did that than saying I took 2 months off, did nothing, and yes, I got to snuggle you more. So it's not so much that it's like a regret, it's just it's the situation that I'm dealt. I'm happy doing what we're doing though right now, because it even for me, it gives me purpose. It gives me purpose, and we don't have a plan B. Like, this is our plan A, B, C, and D. So I've got no choice but to fight for what we're doing. There she goes. I can see her right now with a little bow on her head. Yeah, I'm jealous I'm not at home with you. Now I'm distracted. Anyways, we're doing what needs to be done because it's part of our why, right? This isn't, we don't just do this to make money off of members. We do this for a reason, and what we're doing goes towards our why. What are you doing down there? We got a question down here. Does that answer your question? There we go. I got a thumbs up. What's the question? We got a question on Instagram that says, what do you guys do to keep thoughts like, am I going to lose my business from keeping you down?
Just distract yourself by being purposeful and knowing you're working as hard as you can
and following your why.
Following your why. But again, if you just work hard, like if you have a plan B, C, D, that means you've thought about what it's like to fail, or you're thinking of other options. Like, we don't have another option. That's the reality. And for me to think about my business failing, like, I'm too busy thinking about what to do next to get better. So we don't have time to think about how we're going to fail. Like, that's the reality, because there's no safety net for us. And like, legitimately, like, I don't know if it sounds believable or corny or like super too positive kind of thing, but like, we don't have time to think about failing the business because we're just too busy thinking about, getting better in every aspect of everything, because
let me ask you,
that's just who we are.
Do you think that that's because of how we go with training, right? Like, in the same way, like, that's the foundation that I talked about before, right? Like, we've built a foundation of working hard to being able to compete at something, and that hard work to compete at something gave us a certain mentality and structure that we can fall back on, whether it's fitness or whether it's business or whether it's lifestyle or relationship. That's just what we're used to. It's always just strive for what's next, never look back. And
I guess it's like having the time, like, if we're just worried about going back to ground zero of having zero fitness or being overweight or being whatever, but like,
although I do dream about that.
I know.
I dream about being skinny. You guys all know Skinny Steve. I dream about being Skinny Steve still. It haunts me. Sorry, this just ended.
But sorry, I'm distracted now.
We're back.
Did you answer it? Yeah.
Yeah. I think I answered that.
Yeah.
We both
Same
answered
thing.
that.
Just don't give it time. Don't think about it. Just like, if you're at the gym and you're worried about, I'm scared I'm gonna go back to where I was before. I'm gonna fail my fitness. That's a lot of energy of doing nothing to fail, right? We know what it takes. We know how we got there, so we're in control. And I think it's, again, the same principle. Anything else?
We're an hour in.
Okay, we're an hour in. That's long. Guys, I think we're gonna end off on a high note, because if we go on an hour, I think that's more than enough time. It went by pretty fast for me. I appreciate you. We appreciate you guys, logging in. We think it's really important, and hopefully we do this again. And you guys bring a lot of things to the table, okay? Because we all come from amazing communities. We all are professionals. We all have a lot of experience and a lot of things to offer us, right? So don't discredit it. If, like, we're able to talk up here, there's people out here that I'm sure way more experienced and have way more offer than we do. So guys, feel free to talk and bring
ideas,
because again, the more we can explore each other's experiences, the more we can learn ourselves from different topics and different things.
Yeah, our goal is to strengthen our own community, right? So if you guys have topics and things that you want to talk about, I posted it in the members page. Let us know.
And this way you don't always have to look at our ugly faces.
Excuse me. Rude.
Well, mine at least. I'm on
rude. Oh, true. Yeah, I'm hiding in the back. Monday should be acting lessons.
That I got to charge, guys. That I have to charge. That's not easy. I went to university for acting too. Ask Maria about that. I took 2 acting courses. No joke. It was easy credit. That's why. Anyways, guys, thank you very much. I'm gonna quit. Should I cut this off?
Keep doing what you guys are doing, man. We love you.
Thanks, Sammy.
Awesome, guys. Thanks, Chris. That means a lot. See you, buddy. See you guys.
You got it.